Hey, what's up everybody? How you doing? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School. I just married off one of my girls today, and it was a lot of fun. Weddings are so expensive. Um, you just feel bad for those people that go deep in debt for a wedding and they end up still in debt. When they get the divorce. But I don't think these two are gonna get a divorce. They seem to be a strong couple. But anyway, I was thinking about Floyd Mayweather. I was talking to a sports guy today about it, and they were talking about this tax thing. And according to some different published reports, ESPN and other places, they were basically saying that Floyd really hasn't paid his taxes. That he's the IRS needed him to write a check for $22 million to make up for his tax bill, and he didn't pay it. And that he, according to the reports I've seen, it says he owes taxes from several years back. Now, I know his lawyer gave a statement on, sort of him being a savvy investor and him taking his time so he can use the government's money. I'm not going to say if that's true or not. I don't know one way or the other. I thought about it, and I thought to myself, I said, well, I'll admit it's a little tough to kind of see Floyd as a savvy investor, given that he's kind of done some stuff with his money. He brags about doing things with his money that aren't really healthy, like buying $5 million cars. And I knew a guy who was talking about Floyd buying a Mercedes in one city and just leaving it, forgetting it at the airport, leaving it there, literally just leaving it. But again, I'm not here to judge that. I can't say one way or the other. I can say though that one of my thoughts was, is it possible that he could have lost that much money? Is that possible? And I said, no, that's so much. He was getting these $200 million purses and whatnot. And then I thought about it, and I remember Mike Tyson getting, and Evander Holyfield getting purses that were pretty big, not 200 million, but 50 million, 30 million, stuff like that. And those guys went broke. And one of the things you see with these athletes is that, when they collect on the money, there is a lot of, there are a lot of people that come along and try to get a piece of that. You got the lawyers and the managers and the agents and everybody else, to the point where, given the IRS is going to take 40 to 50%, all those other people take another 20-30%. So you're left with 20-30% of your own money. And it wouldn't surprise me if Floyd did go broke, especially if you think of 200 million and you really think you have even $100 million to blow. So I'm not gonna say he's broke. I don't think he's broke, but I do know that it was interesting that they were requesting that he wait until his next fight in order to pay the money. That says a lot. That kind of makes you wonder, like, where is he? He's probably at least not liquid. Liquid meaning that he probably doesn't even have the money the cash to pay. But he may have assets. He has a lot of assets and stuff like that. I think it would be interesting to see if those assets start getting liquidated, meaning they're making him sell stuff. That's when you'll start to realize that maybe he's got some problems. See you later. And I think, that's kind of interesting. So I think that with athletes in general, I do know, I'm not going to say that Floyd has been like taken or anything like that. I don't know what the situation is, but I do know a lot of athletes do go broke. I read about Terrell Owens the other day, and that poor guy's struggling. A lot of these guys are. And I think that this really speaks to the importance of financial intelligence for the black man. Jay-Z rapped about it. I'm glad he did. He said, financial freedom is my only hope. And that's really true. Financial freedom, also, that doesn't mean you have a lot of money. It just means you're financially free. Financially free means that you can handle all your obligations and still have something to provide your own security. So that might mean a person making $30,000 a year could be financially free if their expenses are, $20,000 a year, whatever, So financial freedom does not mean that you are rich. It means that you are smart. In fact, there are a lot of people who are rich who have financial slavery because the riches kind of lock them in a cage. So anyway, I want to encourage anybody who's following this. See you later. Who's following this? I want to encourage anybody who's following this to, just kind of understand that you got to have economic intelligence. If you don't, then I'm gonna tell you, these people, these folks who sit around and salivate over athlete salaries, these lawyers, these agents, etc. They'll put contracts in front of you where they'll take fees that you don't even know about. Then they're gonna get their fees no matter what. If you put your money with a financial manager, I'm talking about even guys like Clinton Portis. If you remember, Clinton Portis said he was gonna murder his financial manager. And the fact is that if your financial manager leaves you broke, I'm not gonna say it's your fault, but it's kind of your fault, in the sense that You know, the question is, were you in a position to ask the right questions? Did you have somebody that you trust who could really watch over your money? Because you know, some of these guys go broke because their managers will put all their money in one investment. Well, that's a huge, they're breaking a huge rule of investing. You don't put all your money in one place. If I'm sitting on 100 million, I don't have more than 5–10% of my money in any one location. You spread it out, so that if one area goes bad, you got the other areas, you know. So it doesn't make any sense to me when I hear about a guy that's got $8 million that it now has zero. It's not supposed to happen if you invest in a specific way. So anyway, that's it. I don't know if Floyd owes these taxes or if he's able to pay them. Maybe he can. I do know you always should be suspicious when you see a boxer who's boxing beyond his prime. That's what it's happened time and time, every generation. It's like that. You go back to you know, Ali, you go back to Tyson and Holyfield, and a lot of these guys, Riddick Bowe, I think it was Riddick Bowe, maybe it was Buster Douglas, maybe both of them. A lot of these boxers are boxing beyond a point that they should be boxing anymore, and it's because nobody took the time to either teach them the basics of, you know, protecting that money, or nobody they trusted was in charge of the money. And either way, it's just downright criminal. It's wrong. And I really think for black men, we got to grow up and understand, like, you can't spend more time getting into a damn sport than you spend, you know, getting into protecting your family and protecting your future and being intelligent. Because these fuckers will rob you, point blank period. I didn't mean to cuss, but they will take your damn money, and they're gonna look at you like you're stupid and say, well, if you really wanted to protect your money, you would have protected it. It's like football. If you play football and you lay the ball on the ground, and for anybody to grab it, then the other team's gonna pick it up and run with it. And if you silly enough to think that the defense is on your team, then that's your fault. That's your fault. If you think the defensive back is supposed to be, you know, a teammate, he ain't a teammate. He's the opposition. You know, so just be smart. You know, even when I think about all the brothers that watch ESPN, you know, I see brothers that analyze football and basketball and sports like they're rocket scientists, like they're finishing their dissertation and they're going to be PhDs in, you know, in NFL, you know. And I think it's all cool. I like all that stuff. I mean, you know, I can follow a good football, basketball game, whatever. But, you know, I don't think you should, as a black man, ever have a greater understanding of what somebody else is doing than you have of what you're doing. You know, unless you are a professional athlete, then maybe you shouldn't put all your time into analyzing professional sports, and instead put your time into analyzing your business. Instead of breaking down the numbers of the Dallas Cowboys defensive squad, break down the numbers of your business and how you're going to make that money. You know, how you're going to take care of your children. You know, instead of memorizing how many points Carmelo Anthony scored, memorize how many points you scored in the game of life. You know, be an all-star in your own life. Stop, you know, don't worship the all-stars, become one. You know, because I'm going to tell you, I know guys that work at ESPN, and one thing that someone told me who works there, he said, the reason that they have black hosts on shows like First Take is because they realized that there were so many unemployed black men who sit around and watch ESPN all day. And that just tells me that what it speaks to, what it speaks to is a consistency in the economic system where the black man is not a beneficiary of the system. He is a tool of the system. You are not a person who plays the economic game. You get played by the economic game. You're not a person that is able to benefit from the resources. You are a resource. You are a reason ESPN is getting paid. You are a reason that they can make all this money on these pay-per-view fights. And it's okay for you to contribute to that. It's fine. You know, we have our culture. Black men, we like what we like. And I'm a black man too. I'm a regular black man. I ain't no, you know, I ain't no sissy. I ain't no bougie Negro. I'm just a voice. That's all I am. And I saw it all. Everything from having the drunk uncle that you're watching the Super Bowl with, to, you know, friends getting killed, to living in the hood, knowing what it's like to not have no money. I've seen all of that. I've seen a lot of dimensions of blackness in America, and I can tell you that you know, at the end of the day, we have to sort of understand what matters in the world. And sports is fun, but sports is for children. You know, games are for children. Grown men, if they are in the game, they're controlling the game. They're trying to play the game. They're trying to win the game. You ain't just sitting back as a spectator. So you know, when I watch Mayweather, whether it's Mayweather, ESPN, or NBA, whatever it is, I might enjoy the game or whatever, but after that's done, I'm gonna start playing the game of life, and my goal is to win. So as a black man, your goal should be to go out and win the game of life. Get with your brothers, form your own squad, form your own team, and become a winner. You know, so I don't know Floyd Mayweather, just going back to the final point here, I don't know what's going on with Mayweather. I'm not here to decide or judge one way or the other. You know, I've seen everything where his friends saying that he's illiterate and all that, and it makes me sad. You know, and I've personally just seen, you know, what he does, what he brags about with his money, and I think that that's it's going to be quite ironic if Money Mayweather ends up with no money. That right there should tell you a whole lot about the intelligence of that kind of life strategy. But when you're seeing everybody dropping like flies around you, you must ask yourself, how can I have a strategy that will allow me to survive? How can I have a strategy that's going to allow me to thrive? If you don't choose a strategy that will let you live, then you're picking a strategy that will make you die, and you're going to be just like everybody else. So don't make yourself like everybody else. Don't let your sons be like everybody else. Let's rise up. Let's be something better, because we can do this. That's it. I'm out of here, guys. Take care. Don't forget, if you want a free e-copy of my book, It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar, and you want to get a free wealth building class to get started, go to drboycewatkins.net. That's drboycewatkins.net. Also, don't forget about the All Black National Convention taking place September 29th through October 1st in Louisville, Kentucky at Simmons College, the birthplace of the great Muhammad Ali. So go to allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. I hope you guys will come out. The tickets are fairly priced. I hope you'll fly, and we have people flying from all over the world, and I guarantee you won't regret it. You're going to love it. It's going to be the most empowering experience you've ever had in your life. So go check it out. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.